Good day, everyone, and welcome to the VIPshop Holdings Limited's third quarter 2024 earnings conference call. At this time, I would like to turn the call to Ms. Jessie Zheng, VIPshop's Head of Investor Relations. Please proceed.
Thank you, Operator. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining VIPshop's third quarter 2024 earnings conference call. With us today are Eric Shen, our co-founder, chairman, and CEO, and Mark Wang, our CFO. Before management begins their prepared remarks, I would like to remind you that the discussion today will contain forward-looking statements made under the safe harbor provisions of the U.S. Private Securities Litigation Reform Act of 1995. Forward-looking statements are subject to risks and uncertainties that may cause actual results to differ materially from our current expectations. Potential risks and uncertainties include, but are not limited to, those outlined in our safe harbor statements in our earnings release and public filings with the Securities and Exchange Commission, which also applies to this call to the extent any forward-looking statements may be made. Please note that certain financial measures used on this call, such as non-GAAP operating income, non-GAAP net income, and non-GAAP net income per ADS, are not presented in accordance with U.S. GAAP. Please refer to our earnings release for details relating to the reconciliations of our non-GAAP measures to GAAP measures. With that, I would now like to turn the call over to Mr. Eric Shen.
Good morning and good evening, everyone. Welcome and thank you for joining our third quarter 2024 earnings conference call. Our third quarter results largely meet our expectations. Aimed at still cautioning customer sentiment, we moved quickly to adapt our merchandising and operation priorities to external challenges and took concrete measures to find the biggest opportunities for improvement. Consistent with recent industry trends, third quarter sales decline reflect softer results in our more discretionary categories as consumers are facing growing headwind, which weighs on their discretionary spend. On the positive note, SVIP membership growth remained strong and at double digits. In the third quarter, active SVIP customers grew 11% year-over-year, results in 49% of our online spending. This reflects that our value proposition is well appreciated by our most valuable customers through the best combination of merchandise, value, and service. So today, we remain focused on these long-standing factors that have made us a reliable place to shop and also have been successful in driving top-line growth in the past. We are pushing them forward in deeper ways, being more relevant in merchandising portfolio, highlighting even more values throughout our assortment, and increasing customer engagement through our worry-free service. This area has been critically important to ensure we continue to differentiate our experience from others. Among the business highlights, we continue to emphasize merchandising capabilities. We believe it's the most impactful way to drive long-term growth. Our team demonstrates that they have the skill set to respond to change in customer behaviors and translate it into business results. Merchandising is in better shape. In the third quarter, we built assortment more relevant to customer lifestyles and trend-right categories. We leaned into categories with still resilient demand, and we create a better mix of apparel and non-apparel products for family shoppers. As a result, we did see strength in categories like sports and outdoor goods and homeware, despite the broad-based weakness. As we enter the promotional season, we feel good about the size and depth of our supply. We are pleased with the strong inflow of quality brand supply. especially within the deep discount inventory. Through much more unique product offerings, some of our long-time brand partners achieved record sales with us through our major promotion channels like Super Brand Day and the Super Category Day. Many more brands recognize us as a partner of choice, giving the generally lower cost to serve and higher sales efficiency, as well as a growing base of our hardcore customers. Within our merchandising, we are also encouraged by the momentum building in our Made for VIP line for customized products. In the third quarter, we worked with about 200 brand partners, adding some renowned global brands in women's wear and footwear to the line. Sales from these customized products extend its solid growth from previous quarters. We see brand partners increasingly embrace Made for VIP, which have proven to be effective to attract more quality custom and repeat orders. More than half of the Made for VIP sales came from SVIP and other high-value customers, and the majority of their customers actually came back from more purchase in the broader apparel categories. Turning to customers, we see spending behaviors that are still showing signs of being stretched. Against that backdrop, our team quickly adjusted to focus on providing really good value for them. We prioritized everyday low price and time limit offers, highlight compelling deal for our SVIP members, and provide target incentive for family shoppers who trend to spend on high frequency categories. Our team is working hard to find more ways to deliver more value for our customers. We also see some early results after we upgrade SVIP privileges like provide sales and special offers, which have carried on for a few quarters. Through both online access and ground events, they are clearly reinforced the trust and loyalty for SVIP members. We are planning these events to stay better aligned with customer interests and preference to best meet their multiple needs. As it related to strengthening our business for the future, we continue to experiment and deploy technology in the wide range of user base. One focus is to improve the relevancy and accuracy of search and recommendations so that customers of the different intent are more likely to browse and shop across categories. The other is to leverage AI capabilities to automate content of all kinds to help customers find and buy what they are looking for. We do see opportunities for technology to become an important driver of both growth and efficiency. Recently, we start to see some marginal strengths of customer demand. People have shown more willingness to spend, and our customers continue to shop along the holidays and the seasonal momentum. While we are doing our best to get back to growth, with customer spending yet to fully recover in the discretionary portfolio, we are laser focused on the long-term strategy as that are pivotal to our long-lasting success that has always been a firm positions in discount retail for brands, to bring in the best of brand partners and to create great value for customers. We are driving necessary change in the more aggressive way so that we have all the right building blocks to compete and win. And through it all, we are remain diligent on execute the retail fundamental our customer expect from us and respond to their consumption shift in a timely manner. This requires specialized and elaborate efforts in merchandise, standout strengths we are continuing to build on. We believe this will help us increase the appeal of our platform and ensure an engaging experience that keeps VIP Shop top of mind in the very dynamic market. At this point, let me hand over the call to our CFO, Mark Wang, to go over our financial results.
Okay, thanks, Eric, and hello, everyone. In the third quarter, we maintained disciplined financial management throughout the organization and delivered solid profitability against a weak top-line performance. Gross margin of 24.0% was driven by a small benefit from the increased contribution from the higher margin apparel categories, as well as other revenues on a year-over-year basis. This was more than offset by the deleveraging impact of lower revenue and continued investment in our team. As a result, on the bottom line, non-GAAP net margin attributable to VIP Shop's shareholders came in at 6.3%, which was lower year-over-year, but within our expected range. Thanks to our team's meticulous efforts to identify efficiency opportunities. Looking at a still challenging environment, we are laser focused on a long-term roadmap to bring the business back into positive territory. We continue to invest in our merchandising capabilities, delve deeper category by category, to add quality and value that best satisfy customer needs, while reallocation resource to maximize impact on customer mindshare and engagement. And we're always capable of moving these initiatives with a clear picture of their financial implications. We believe we are more integrated in operations now to create a better balance of our focus on sales and profitability. Turning to capital allocation, our priority have remained consistent. In addition to prudently invest in our own business and projects that meet our strategic and financial criteria, we look to support our shareholder return and build on our track record of consistency. In the first 9 months of 2024, we have repurchased a total of nearly $500 million, with $55.3 million left in the existing $1 billion share repurchase program. Also, we have a new 2-year buyback program of up to $1 billion in place. And as a reminder, for 2025, we plan to commit no less than 75% of our full-year non-GAAP net income attributable to VIP Shop shareholders through discretionary share repurchase and the dividend distributions. Now moving to our detailed quarterly financial highlights. Before I get started, I would like to clarify that all financial numbers presented below are in renminbi, and all the percentage change are year-over-year change, unless otherwise noted. Total net revenue for the third quarter of 2024 were RMB 20.7 billion, compared with RMB 22.8 billion in the prior period. Gross profit was RMB 5.0 billion, compared with RMB 5.4 billion in the prior period. Gross margin increased to 24.0% from 23.6% in the prior period. Total operating expenses decreased by 6.1% year-over-year to RMB 3.8 billion from RMB 4.0 billion in the prior year period. As a percentage of total net revenues, total operating expenses was 18.2%, compared with 17.6% in the prior year period. Fulfillment expenses decreased by 2.0% year-over-year to RMB 1.7 billion from RMB 1.8 billion in the prior year period. As a percentage of total net revenues, fulfillment expenses was 8.4%, compared with 7.8% in the prior year period. Marketing expenses decreased by 7.7% year-over-year to RMB 617.8 million from RMB 669.6 million in the prior year period. As a percentage of total net revenues, marketing expenses were 3.0%, compared with 2.9% in the prior year period. Technology and content expenses increased by 4.3% year-over-year to RMB 454.2 million from RMB 435.3 million in the prior year period. As a percentage of total net revenues, technology and content expenses was 2.2%, compared with 1.9% in the prior year period. General and administrative expenses decreased by 15.3% year-over-year to RMB 957.8 million from RMB 1.1 billion in the prior year period. As a percentage of total net revenues, general and administrative expenses decreased to 4.6% from 5.0% in the prior year period. Income from operations was RMB 1.3 billion, compared with RMB 1.5 billion in the prior year period. Operating margin was 6.4%, compared with 6.7% in the prior year period. Non-GAAP income from operations was RMB 1.7 billion, compared with RMB 2.1 billion in the prior year period. Non-GAAP operating margin was 8.2%, compared with 9.1% in the prior year period. Net income attributable to VIPShop shareholders was RMB 1.0 billion, compared with RMB 1.2 billion in the prior year period. Net margin attributable to VIPShop shareholders was 5.1%, compared with 5.3% in the prior year period. Net income attributable to VIPShop's shareholders per diluted ADS was RMB 1.97, compared with RMB 2.19 in the prior year period. Non-GAAP net income attributable to VIPShop shareholders was RMB 1.3 billion, compared with RMB 1.8 billion in the prior year period. Non-GAAP net margin attributable to VIPShop shareholders was 6.3%, compared with 8.1% in the prior year period. Non-GAAP net income attributable to VIPShop shareholders per diluted ADS was RMB 2.47, compared with RMB 3.33 in the prior year period. As of September 13, 2024, the company had cash and cash equivalents and restricted cash of RMB 22.5 billion and short-term investments of RMB 1.6 billion. Looking forward to the fourth quarter of 2024, we expected our total net revenues to be between RMB 31.2 billion and RMB 32.9 billion, representing a year-over-year decrease of approximately 10% to 5%. Please note that this forecast reflects our current and preliminary view of the market and operational conditions, which is subject to change. With that, I would now like to open the call to Q&A.
Thank you. To ask a question, you will need to press star 1 and 1 on your telephone and wait for your name to be announced. To withdraw your question, please press star 1 and 1 again. Once again, please press star 1 and 1 on your telephone and wait for your name to be announced. To withdraw your question, please press star 1 and 1 again. Please kindly translate your question in Chinese if you are bilingual. Thank you. We are now going to proceed with our first question. The questions come from the line of Thomas Chong from Jefferies. Please ask your question.
晚上好，谢谢管理层接受我的提问。我的问题是关于9月底政府的宏观的一个政策，然后就是对消费的情绪，我们是看到从 GMV 的角度来说，可不可以分享一下最近一段时间的那个情况？因为我们也是给了一个 Q4 的一个revenue 的 guidance。然后的话呢，也想再多问一下，就是我们怎么去看2025年GMV 跟 margin 的一个展望？因为看到我们的 GP margin 已经是做得非常好，做到一个 24%， 然后也想看一下呢，就是我们2025年的 GMV 什么时候可以回到一个positive 的一个增长？谢谢。Thanks management for taking my question. My question is about the recent consumer sentiment after recent government supportive measures. Can management share about the monthly GMV trend in Q4, as well as our expectation on 2025 outlook from the perspective of GMV and margin? Given our solid margin profile seen in Q3, in particular 24% of the GP margin, how should we think about the outlook in 2025? And when should we expect our GMV back to positive year-on-year growth trend? Thank you.
我回答一下这两个问题。第一个就是问那个最近的情况就是包括 Q4 现在应该也有50多天了那个的情况。那么总体我们看到 Q4 是10月份是不错的。那么因为是有一个特别情况呢，因为我们这次是大家的双11都提前了，所以说呢我们看到 Q4 增长不错，那个10月份增长不错。但是呢，如果拉平了，就10月跟11月一起看的话，那么基本也在我们的预计的 Q4 的这个范围内，所以总体来讲呢，在我们的预期之内。那么另外对整个消费情况呢，我们看到那个国家也对这种尽量的刺激消费包括呢对这种叫做一些家电的以旧换新补贴等等。但是呢，对我们的业务有少许的帮助。那么，但是呢，因为我们主要是卖服饰类的嘛，那么所以说不是在这个就是关于家电的补贴方面，那么没有得到很大的红利。那么总体我们看，那么整个的消费情况，那么我们总体觉得跟比如说我们看到的 Q3 其实差别不算很大。那么消费者还是就是说那个继续是购买少而精那么如果没有什么价值的东西，他们基本也不怎么买，所以说总体而言这个消费情况基本差不多。那么另外我们自己对25年的预期，那么我们自己认为可能24年 Q4 也会带到25年，那么这个也是看整体的经济环境跟那个老百姓的那个未来的信心，包括他们自己的 资产有没有升值，那么也决定了就是未来的整个消费是不是会那个很大的提升。所以说我们其实也在看2025年的走向。那么对我们自己而言呢，就是说那个包括2025年的 GMV， 我们其实2024年是跌的，那么我们争取在2025年吧，我们争取要把 GMV 扶正。那么另外的话呢，就是在2025年的我们预估的话，那么关于净利方面，我们认为就不会有什么大的变化。那么因为我们的整体的那个收入结构还比较稳定的。那个另外呢，关于花费方面，那么我们自己认为会有一些小变化吧，但是不会有大变化。所以我们自己认为在2025年的关于净利的，我们其实也是相对稳定的，就不会有什么大的变化。
Okay, first of all, on the recent business trends, quarter to date, I think we have been into the quarter for over 50 days, and October was really good, but that was apparently because of the much earlier Double 11 promotion, which led to some front load of consumption. And if we add October and November to date, we are still within the guidance. In terms of consumer sentiment, of course, the government-sponsored trading programs launched toward the end of September do give us some boost to our certain categories in electronics and home appliances. But since we are primarily focused on apparel categories, we are not very key beneficiary of such programs. And overall sentiment may have bottomed out following the recent stimulus package, but still it's a rather rational environment to us. We are still seeing customers are still showing signs of being stretched. They're making trade-offs in family budgets, looking for value, focusing on essentials, and delaying purchases until the need of moment. So we haven't seen a very meaningful recovery in consumer sentiment as compared to prior quarters. And lastly, on 2025 outlook, we do believe we think it's pretty unpredictable. We are going to plan our business cautiously. It depends on a number of factors, whether macro is going to have better recovery, whether consumer confidence is going to pick up. And there are a lot of uncertainties, but so we think probably the trend we're seeing in Q4 would be brought forward into a part of 2025. But we are doing our best to get back to growth, especially in terms of GMV, as compared to a small decline for GMV in 2024. And on margins, I think there are not too much to worry about. We are focused on growing profit dollars. I think in terms of absolute dollar amount and also on the margin side, we should be able to maintain relatively stable levels. And on cost and expenses, we are going to be continue to be very disciplined. And there could be some changes as to certain cost and expenses structure, but it should be not big swings from what we have done for 2024. That's all.
Thank you.
We are now going to proceed with our next question. The questions come from the line of Alicia Yap from Citigroup. Please ask your question.
Hi, good evening， 管理层晚上好，谢谢接受我的提问。我想跟进一下，就是这个双11的这个表现，就想管理层大概再跟我们细讲一下，就是说如果只是双11，比如说大概30天里面的，我们是就是有看到是正增长的这个双11，对吧？就是说有没有比我们之前自己的预期是超我们自己的预期哈？然后因为我们4Q 的 guidance 呢，就是不是说我们就对12月份的一些消费没有什么大的一个就是 visibility， 所以就比较保守，所以感觉上就整个4Q 我们 guidance 还是就是盖了5到10的这个负增长哈，所以就想大概理解一下这个整个双11的这个区间，然后就过了双11的一些你这边的想法。然后另外的话呢，就是想了解一下今年双11的这个退货率，是比往年还要高，还有比这个618还要高吗？还是说是差不多的？我自己很快翻译一下。So my question is just to follow up on overall the single stage performance and also the 4Q guidance. So just wondering during the single stage period that 30 plus days, is that you actually able to achieve a positive growth during the single stage period? And then in terms of your guidance, is that conservative because you want to not too sure about how the December trend, so that's why you're providing that 5-10% decline because the visibility in December are not sure. And then also on the return rate, so if you can compare the return rate for this single stage versus last year single stage and versus this year June 18. Thank you.
那个今年双11因为是口径不一样啊，就是我们比如说今年的双11大家基本要做大概28天吧，那么去年的双11大概只做了20几天，所以说理论上呢，就是说如果大家现在我看到别人家都比的话都是增长不错，如果我们也拿这个比，我们也增长20几，但是呢如果我们看就是说如果看那个同样20几天比20几天，所以说我们看到其实是跟我们的预测的大趋势差不多的，所以说我们其实客观的看到，那么整体我们 Q4 应该还是在低迷的状态。那么第二个呢，就是说我们包括对我们的这次的预估，我们觉得要保守，可能是-5到-10吧，因为我们知道其实去年的天气非常冷，那么中间有那个寒潮很多，还有一些意想不到的寒潮，那么导致我们去年那个 Q4 又做得特别好，那么今年我们知道整体的那个大环境的天气其实不太乐观啊，就明显预测就今年的天气不会冷于去年，所以说我们对这个呢也做了一些那个准备，那么我们预估到今年的整个天气的问题导致生意也不会比去年更好，所以说我们自己看，这也是我们自己觉得要报-5到-10的2个原因吧。退货率我们相对比较稳定，就是说我们比如说今年整年的退货率我们比去年大概涨了2个点，因为我们其实一直这个政策都比较延续，那么一直是这种叫免费退货等等啊，就服务也非常好，那么包括我们其实这种政策都延续了5-6年了，所以理论上呢就可能别的平台比如最近这1年退货率奇高，那么其实在我们这里是没有这种感觉的，那么所以总体我们的退货率全年我们就比去年涨了2个点，这双11的退货率跟那个全年的趋势是一样的。
Okay, first of all, as to Double 11 performance, I think most of the platforms are comparing it on a full cycle basis. Basically, we did 28 days of promotions as compared to roughly 20 days last year. And if on this full cycle basis, we are doing very well. We are also doing very well with GMV over 20% growth for sure. And also customer and revenue metrics are exceeding our expectations. But if we look at it on an apple-to-apple basis, just comparing the 20 days of the promotional campaigns, actually it's just in line with our expectations. We think Q4 is still a challenging quarter, and we give our guidance on a relatively conservative basis. One factor is also about weather. We do have a very high base especially in last Q4, we had actually extended a period of cold waves, which benefited our business unexpectedly. So this year apparently is not going to be as cold as last year, and so we bake this this weather factor into our Q4 guidance as well. That's why we think Q4 is going to be a little bit challenging. And lastly, on return rate, because we have a very stable return policy and also services for like 5 to 6 years, and our return rate has been driven in our case mostly structural factors like apparel contribution and SVIP contribution, etc. So basically, a return rate during the Double 11 is actually trending in line with our expectation, just adding 2 percentage points in terms of return rate. Not like in the case of other platforms who had a sudden change in their return policy, which lead to extremely high return rates.
谢谢。
You're welcome.
We are now going to proceed with our next question. The questions come from the line of Ronald Keung from Goldman Sachs. Please ask your question.
谢谢沈总 Mark Jessie 可能先问个毛利率，就我们这个3季度创了一个历史新高，那去年其实4季度毛利率还比3季度高，平常可能4季度有其他品类的话会拉低一些，但去年还很高。那我们今年这个 apparel 的这个 mix 和4季度应该怎么想这个毛利率？然后呢，第二个想问我们这次 OP 和 net profit 就 operating profit 和 net profit 之间，可能就感觉这个净利润增速就跌幅就再大一些，看来是这个 tax expense 就高了30%左右，那应该是一些我们把钱withholding tax 做 share return， 那我们应该怎么去想这个未来这个 outlook 这个 tax expense， 就我们今年可能因为为明年的这个 share return 做了一些准备，那我们应该怎么去想这个 tax expense 和我们这个股东回报这边？那我翻译一下。Thank you, management. Just 2 questions. One is your gross margins reach record high in third quarter. Last year, fourth quarter gross margins were even higher. How should we think about the apparel mix, which usually is good for gross margin, and the outlook for gross margins for 4Q? Second is your net profit decline was wider than operating profit, and seemingly a 30% increase in tax expenses. Is that related to how transfer of cash onshore to offshore to fund our shareholder returns? How should we think about this income line outlook? Thank you.
那我先回答第一个问题，第二个问题让 Mark 回答。第一个问题就是 Q3 我们的那个毛利率那么管理也不错，那么我们是24%那么但是我们自己看在 Q3 我们可能要投入一些在补贴或者等等因为我们那个就是觉得就是说因为现在的竞争的环境，我们适当要做一些贴补，那么但是呢我们做贴补还是有限的比如说我们自己认为有可能 Q4 的毛利率有可能是 23.7%， 不知道就大概可能是比如说只是会适当低一些， 但是不会说今天整个变形，比如说变成22啊、23啊，类似这样。所以说我们其实针对现在这个竞争的环境，包括这个尤其在标品方面，我们会做一些适当的补贴，所以总体是对 Q4 的毛利的预估。那么第二个问题 Mark 来回答。对。
So in terms of our GP margin outlook, I think for Q3, we had 24%, which was driven by a small benefit from apparel contribution and also higher other revenue. But looking into Q4, as you know, we continue to invest to grow. So especially given the current competitive environment, if we see an opportunity to invest a portion of our current profit margin to gain sustainable growth in dollars, we would do that. So for GP margin in Q4, we expect it to be marginally lower than Q3, but it should be well within the range of 23%.
Okay. Thanks for your question. And regarding the first question, you talk about the gross margin. Let me give you some supplementary comments. For the third quarter, the gross margin expansion was primarily driven by the following reasons. The first one is the higher margin apparel categories, which had a higher contribution year over year. The second one is we have many cost-saving initiatives to improve gross margin, including optimized merchandising portfolio, well-managed customer incentive, and so on. The third is higher contribution from higher margin other revenues. That because the other revenues, we also book some of the like Shenzhen Outlets revenue, which is recognized as net revenue approach. That means we recognize the rental income for the Shenzhen Outlets income. So that means the gross margin is higher, which was booked in the other revenues. Okay, so that is main three reasons for the gross revenue higher than before. And for your second question, that's a very good question. It's regarding the effective tax rate, non-GAAP expenses. Just you mentioned that we distribute some of the dividends from the entities in the China mainland to the entities in Hong Kong. Okay, the reason is that we need to do the share buyback, as we mentioned before. Okay, this quarter we remit around 3.5 billion RMB. So that means we have 175 million withholding income tax expenses. Okay, so exclude the factor, the withholding income tax expenses, the ETR would have been around 17 to 18%. I think for the long term, exclude the withholding income tax impact, the ETR could be still around 17 to 18%. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
We are now going to proceed with our next question. The questions come from the line of Roger Duan from Barclays. Please ask your question.
谢谢管理层接受我的提问，大家晚上好。我这边有2个小问题想请教一下，就是第一个是能不能请管理层分享一下，就是我们第3季度从不同品类的角度来看，他们的分别的表现如何？因为像马尔总刚刚说的，好像穿戴在3Q 这个GMV 的占比有了进一步的提升是我的第一个问题。然后第二个问题是，能不能请管理层分享一下，我们这个季度 SVIP 用户的用户行为有没有什么比较明显的变化？从消费频率或者是从客单价的那个来看I'm gonna address myself. Thank you, management, for taking my question. I have 2 questions. First, for third quarter, can management share in terms of different product categories? Do we see any difference in terms of performance? Because it looks like apparels have grown in terms of GMV contribution in third quarter. And my second question is on SVIP users. Can management share whether we have seen any changes in consumer behavior during the quarter in terms of shopping frequency or average bucket size? Thank you.
好，我们看那个第3季度的话， 就是我们穿戴会跌，那么但是跌的没这么厉害，反而标品会跌的猛过穿戴啊，就是说明说我们其实我们上次也说了，因为这种比价特别厉害的地方，现在电商竞争激烈，那么我们说在标品方面我们会跌得多一点，所以说我们最近也在加强那个标品的，就是说我们要做一些补贴，干些什么，然后争取要把这个标品不要让它跌这么猛，因为我们本来的标品也不强，那么但是呢，其实像标品的，那么就是像用户的需求，其实在每个季度其实对我们都有蛮正向的帮助，就是他们日常所需啊。那么第二个呢，就是关于 SVIP 呢，我们现在是750万的用户 ，Q3 也贡献了我们49的销售。那么因为是我们看到用户数其实季度在增加11%嘛，那么总体如果那么因为有的用户不可比啊，新增的用户跟老的用户，那么我们把比如说2年的 SVIP 都做个对比的话，看到其实他们的 SVIP 整个 UP 会有一些下降啊。那比如说我们说的它的那个客单价变化不是很大，很轻微的，那么只是频率是有一些下降，所以总体而言呢，我们看到那个会有一些影响，但不是影响很厉害。
谢谢。
Okay, first on Q3 category wise, we see apparel have a small decline in terms of GMV, while standardized items had a bigger decline, but it's not worsening as compared to prior quarters. And it's still it's because of the competition price advantage by other platforms, and with that we are making a series of adjustments, and especially we are giving out some limited and targeted incentives, for example, for family shoppers to increase their chance of doing shopping across different categories, especially in daily essentials. And we are seeing some early results from that, and we hope that we would gradually narrow the loss from standardized items. And on SVIP, we're seeing a very solid momentum. We had 7.5 million active Super VIP customers in Q3, which accounted for roughly 49% of our online spending. In terms of customer base, though, that was 11% growth year-over-year. And apparently, new SVIP customers for the quarter, it takes time for them to ramp up their frequency and therefore ARPU. So they have, to some extent, a dilutive effect on the whole SVIP base. But if we look at the same cohort, for example, the 2-year SVIP customers, we see their performance are actually relatively stable. We do see a small decline in ARPU, but that was primarily driven by frequency, less frequency, and average ticket size remained relatively stable. Apart from that, we actually don't see any additional loss of consumer health as to SVIP customers.
We are now going to proceed with our next question. The questions come from the line of Jialong Shi from Nomura. Please ask your question.
谢谢接受我的这个提问。我其实就是想 follow up 一下，就是刚刚沈总有提到，就是说这个 SVIP member， 就是他们的这个在我们这边的 2年的这个 SVIP member 在我们这边的这个 spending 同比是有这个下滑，然后你也讲了主要是因为这个它的购买频次有下降，所以就是想问一下我们内部这边分析下来的话，就是它的这个频次下降多大程度是因为就是说自身就是说消费谨慎，有多大程度是因为竞争，它可能会有一些购买转移到了这个竞争对手那边去了，然后我们这边会有什么样的一些措施去稳住它的这个消费频次？因为如果我没有记错的话，好像是上个季度开始就已经有这样的一个趋势了，所以大概什么时候我们能看到说这个 SVIP 就是我们这个核心的客户群，它在我们这边它的这个消费频次或者是整个的这个购买力都能够稳住，这个是我的一个问题。第二个问题的话，就是想问一下，就是刚才你也讲到，就是这个以旧换新，因为我们主打的是穿戴类的，可能我们受益不多，但是我们标品里面其实也是有一些消费电子，然后我们还有线下的这个奥莱店，所以我想问一下，就是我们这个唯品会这边的业务有没有就是说多多少少能受益于这样一个以旧换新补贴的这个措施，因为也有听到说这个国家以旧换新这个措施可能明年还是会持续的，就说我们也做一个主要的电商渠道，有没有可能有机会也能获益？我自己翻译一下。So I have two follow-up questions. The first question is about the decline in the ARPU for SVIP member. Just try to get more color from management. What were the possible reason for the decline in the ARPU for or average spending for the for SVIP member? The second question is about the trading subsidies funded by the government. Just wondering if any of VIPS business have benefited or will likely be benefited from this trading subsidy scheme. Thank you.
好，我回答一下。第一个就是说，那么我们现在那个 SVIP 的那个消费频次有下降嘛？那么我们其实现在也是要紧紧抓住，那么这些消费那个就是我们 SVIP 在我们上面这些粘性啊。那么我们比如说，我们最近也在给他们推更多的权益啊，包括今天我们为了延续这些那个 SVIP 在我们这里。那么有可能获取他要续费，包括他要那个就是说包括新客要开卡等等啊，就是我们的门槛我们会做适当的降低，就让他们更容易的进来。那么另外呢，就是包括我们在会员权益上面，比如说今天我们本来是98折，那么我们尽量的推更多95折优惠给他们，包括我们一些特别的商品，那么我们会跟他们做很多活动，比如说思想特卖啊，那么包括线上线下的等很多活动啊，那么我们其实就是让我们的 SVIP 觉得那个就是说会有更多的不一样的，那么或者说别人没有的权益，那么我们剩下的比如说这种服务啊、退货啊这些权益其实都是 OK 的等等啊，所以说我们最近也在，因为这些用户占我们生意等于 Q4 看将近50%了嘛，那么我们其实在这些用户的留存方面，那么包括他们是不是还可以买更多，那么包括我们最近对 SVIP 因为他家庭还有一些品类，那么我们会重点推给他们，就是其实他们是很信任我们平台的，那么何不在我们上面消费呢等等，我们其实是一方面是降低他的提高他的留存，第二方面是那个就加强他的花费，但最重要是他要觉得我们这个平台对他们有价值，那么才可以。所以说总体我们也在做一系列的工作来加强 SVIP。那么第二方面就问的就关于消费电子啊，那么我们其实线下的奥莱我们其实全部是服装，那么电器几乎没有啊，以我们的那种大的杉杉奥莱也没有看到卖手机啊卖家电的，所以说其实对杉杉奥莱的影响几乎没有，那个就帮助几乎没有。那么我们自己线上看，就是我们有统计，比如说我们预计吧，到今年的年底，就是可能我们整个以旧换新那个帮我们就是说通过那种以旧换新的政府补贴来买的，可能也就几个亿人民币吧，可能4个亿到5个亿人民币。所以说总体来讲4个亿5个亿人民币在我们的整个那个消费的盘里那个占比是不大的。那么我们其实 这个可能跟我们的这个认知不强有关系啊，就消费者的认知不强有关系。那么我们也积极推进，比如说最近政府也会在扩品类，但是目前还没扩到衣服啊，所以我们也在想，那么希望政府来更多刺激我们说的老百姓的这种基本的消费。
So for SVIP customers, we do realize that they have a small decline in frequency, even for the same cohort of customers. We are making a lot of efforts to increase engagement with SVIP customers. For example, we are planning to lower the bar for SVIP customers in terms of membership privileges, for renewal and for new customers who become SVIP member for the first time. And we are also planning to cover the additional 5% of discount to more brands and merchants. We are launching a lot of online and also ground events, such as private sales and special offers, to reinforce the trust and loyalty from our SVIP customers. And I think the essence of this SVIP enhancement program is intended to, one, is to increase their retention and also repeat orders. And second is to find more opportunities for cross-category purchases, especially for family shoppers. Because most of the SVIP customers actually do have very strong trust and loyalty in VIP shop. And if we provide a great combination of product value and service, they wouldn't hesitate to shop with us more often. And that's for SVIP customers. And for trading programs, for our offline outlets, actually the primary business is still on apparel categories. So we barely benefit from the trading program. And for online business, we expect there should be a few hundred million, ranging from 400 to 500 million RMB additional sales from trading programs. This is not meaningful enough to drive our GMV or revenue. It could be that our platform is still more recognized by customers as a great place to shop for apparel and accessories instead of electronics and home appliances. Having said that, we are trying to cooperate with the government departments to see whether they would be willing to extend the trading programs to other categories. Of course, it hasn't expanded to apparel categories for now, but we do see opportunities. If the trading program extend to additional categories, we should be benefiting from that.